Welcome to What to Watch Wednesdays, hosted by someone's favorite film buff, Nathan. I love movies and I want to share that with you. From old originals to cult classics and foreign favorites, along with straight up drivel, WWW is your place for all things movies. Stick around and we'll leave you with a movie to watch over the weekend with your family or that special someone. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. 88.1 The Burg, your movie central. Welcome to What to Watch Wednesdays. My name is Nathan, the host with the most something, that's for sure, and we are going to jump into our watch list tonight. And I'll give you some background after I introduce the three movies that we're talking about on tonight's show. The first movie on the watch list will be the Lego Movie from 2014, followed by the Lego Batman Movie from 2017, and the Lego Ninjago Movie, also from 2017. For those of you who are regular listeners of mine, those picks may have kind of surprised you there, because I have basically strayed away from talking about children's movies, or even a lot of animated movies for that matter. And the reason for that is I couldn't come up with the reason. Don't bother me about it. Stop asking. That's my really good excuse that doesn't work whatsoever. But the whole reason that we are talking about Lego movies is partially related to something that I will announce near the end of the show, but it's also kind of to coincide with the recent documentary released about Pharrell Williams, that being Piece by Piece. It came out this year, in fact, just about a month ago. And so rather than talking about it around the time that it came out, it felt weirdly appropriate? No. It felt like it would still work to talk about it a month later. It's still relevant, and Lego never really outgrows this relevance. Let's be completely honest here. Everybody knows what Lego is. It's been around for like years and years and years. I don't even know what year Lego first came out. You know what Legos are. Everybody does. So timeless. Timeless is what it is. And timeless will be our first movie on the watch list tonight, which will be the Lego Movie. But that would be spoiling too much. So stick around after the break where we'll jump into that. 88.1 The Burg, your movie central. Welcome back to What to Watch Wednesdays. And for our first movie on the watch list tonight, we will be taking a look at the Lego Movie from 2014, available to watch now on Amazon Prime with ads. To jump into the basic plot summary of the movie, for those of you who somehow haven't heard or seen this movie. Heard or seen. Yes, you hear a movie. Heard of is what I meant to say there, but the plot line. The plot follows Emmett, an ordinary Lego construction worker, and his life after he is thrown into a crazy adventure when he discovers this strange piece of resistance, which turns out to be the only thing that can stop the incredibly villainous Lord Business. I almost called him President Business. He has this happy persona of President Business, but in reality, he's the evil Dark Master Lord Business, and his ultimate weapon, that being the Craggle. And it's just a bottle of crazy glue with the ZY and the U in glue scratched out, so it just spells Craggle. It's just a thing of glue. Ah yes, every Lego's worst nightmare, being glued. If that was their worst nightmare, why did the Lego company keep gluing Legos together in Legoland? That's a completely different point. So let's backtrack a little bit here. First off, that sounded like a normal story until I brought up the Craggle, right? Well, oh well. I never questioned that premise, to be completely honest with you, because when I first saw this movie, I was around 9 years old. The ripe age where you don't question anything that you watch, even a little bit. Or if you do, you don't care. So, let me tell you this right now. I remember going to see this movie in theaters. I remember it released in February, or I more so looked up and saw that it released in February. And so then I do remember going to see it within the month that it released. I remember watching it in the theater, and I remember finding it entertaining. I remember liking it, and then going home and then not thinking about it until we got it on DVD, and it was like, oh, look at that. There was a lot of like hype surrounding the movie. So, and there's a reason that I'm telling you all this. Don't worry, just bear with me. There was a lot of hype around the movie, and we watched it many times over the years. I became accustomed to watching this movie. I liked it, but it wasn't like something that I really appreciated. I thought some of it was a bit cheesy, some of it didn't work for me, specifically certain things that happened later down the line in the plot. It just felt like a movie that I enjoyed because I played with Lego all the time. But it wasn't a movie that I was ranking really high on my list of like really good animated movies. So that was around the age when I was 9, right? I rewatched this movie in order to get a full perspective on it as a 20-year-old college student. Let me throw the biggest, like, monkey wrench into this whole operation of this story. I like this movie more now as a full-grown adult than I did as a small child. I'm going to repeat that. When I saw this as a 9-year-old about 10 years ago, my level of enjoyment and admiration and respect and understanding of this movie was leagues lower than it is now as a 20-year-old college student. I was kind of hoping for that to be the case, but not to the degree that it was at when I finished watching the movie. I was like, holy mother of monkeys, that was mind-boggling. How did I not like this as a child as much as I do now? Why is this standing out to me more? I think part of the reason for that is because I now, being a person who wants to make movies and kind of watches a lot of them, I can appreciate the risks that the Lego movie took. More specifically, with its animation style and the ambitious idea of the plot line. Like, it's a very standard hero's journey, but at the same time, it's also got like undertones of being a special person, because Emmett is like an average construction worker. When I say average, I mean below average, as in like people don't pay attention to him. The whole, like, without spoiling too much, the entire premise of the movie is meant to convince children that you are special no matter who you are. Okay, cool. Do you realize that's not exactly easy to do? I mean, it's not like it's the most difficult thing ever. But in order to do that right, in order to get that into a child's head, you have to be a good writer. You can't just, like, kind of skim through it and kind of just, I don't know, coast your way through the screenplay with a premise like that. That's a bit ambitious. That's a bit more deeper than your average Disney movie, where the moral tends to be, oh, share with your friends or be a good person or something like that. This is like, no, you can change society as a whole and benefit it if you believe in yourself, because belief is stronger than the truth of you being a special person. What? I think that was the whole reason it resonated with me, because I was like, this is getting to me more than it did as a child. I understand why this is like actually able to be enjoyed by an adult. That's a very universal thing. As a college student, that's the whole reason you go to college, is to be told that you're important and special and can matter and make a difference in the world. And this movie from 10 years ago was already telling it to me, and I didn't understand it because I was a stupid child. It just blew my mind for that reason alone. Some of the movie does have its rough edges. Some of it doesn't hold up perfectly. Some of the stylistic choices of it trying to emulate these old, like, community-made stop-motion Lego short films, basically. It's sometimes the cracks begin to show. Sometimes you can tell that it's done with just CGI. And it's all done with CGI, don't get me wrong. But it's meant to emulate that stop-motion style. Except when it doesn't. Which is only like 1 or 2 shots. Why am I complaining about this? Because there's, like, despite any flaw you could throw at this movie, my mind was so completely blown by watching it again that I can highly recommend rewatching it if you've never seen it before, or it's been years since you last watched it. I can't recommend rewatching or watching it again because you may actually like it more. I was hoping to like it more, and I did. Full confirmation. The soundtrack was also really good, and to top it all off, I know it's a bit of a meme at this point, but Chris Pratt does a great job as Emmett. I actually legitimately really liked his performance. This is not a joke. I get why people are tired of hearing him voice act everybody, but we can blame the Lego Movie because he did a really good job, and so did everybody by extension. And speaking of voice performances, when we come back from the break, we'll jump into one of my favorite vocal performances for such an iconic character. Stick around after the break, where we'll jump into the Lego Batman movie. 88.1 The Burg, your movie central. Welcome back to What to Watch Wednesdays, and for our second movie on the watch list tonight, we will be taking a look at the Lego Batman movie from 2017, available to watch now on Max. The basic plotline of the Lego Batman movie follows Batman, the Lego version, facing off against Joker alongside other enemies, such as Regulation from his father figure Alfred, who's also his butler, the institution, or instation, or the hiring of Jim Gordon's daughter, that being Commissioner Barbara Gordon, and her regulations on Batman as a crime-stopping force, and the regulations of being a new parent after accidentally adopting a young Richard Grayson from the orphanage. So, on the one hand, it may sound like this is a bit complicated. Don't worry, it balances it all out pretty well. What I can tell you right now that I do have complications with is my feelings about the voice acting choice. Let me paint the picture for you. With the Lego Batman movie, with the Lego movie, they did have Batman show up as a full-on character who was important to the story, who actually did something. In the Lego movie, he was voiced by Will Arnett. And thankfully, for the Lego Batman movie, they get Will Arnett to return. It's by the same studio. It's done that same stop-motion emulation style as the Lego movie. So, here's the thing. The only reason I have conflicting feelings about this is because it's the Lego version of Batman. Just keep that in mind before I say this next part. Will Arnett is my second favorite voice of Batman. Period. Full stop. He is a nearly perfect choice to voice Batman. And I figured that out through watching the Lego Batman movie. Not any, this is definitely official, but not through watching any of the live action stuff, any of the 2D animated stuff. And of course, I say that, and yet I also will say, Kevin Conroy's voice of Batman, beautiful. And before even saying, I'm not going to compare him to the live action stuff. So it may not seem like a massive deal, but it's a big enough deal to figure out that you have a preference for a voice of such an iconic character like Batman when you figure it out while watching the Lego version. That's the thing that's throwing me for a complete loop. If they had gotten Will Arnett to voice Batman in a 2D animated Batman movie, I think he would have done a great job. I know he would have done a great job. He would have done a great job. And he does a great job in an animated Batman movie. But this animated Batman movie just so happens to be the Lego version. It's so funny and so strange to me how my brain is just going, it's filling in so many gaps that I'm like, how is this working? But my brain just keeps telling me it's working. Stop questioning it. So I will stop questioning it. And I will say that the thing that also can be filled in by the gaps quite easily is the quality of the movie. Because let me tell you right now, the Lego Batman movie is my favorite out of the entire selection of Lego movies. I really like the Lego movie, especially after rewatching it. I think it's definitely the best one. Do I like it more than the Lego Batman movie? No, I do not. Because this movie accomplishes what every good parody or readaptation or reference should do. It manages to have a really good story while also being a parody. This movie is basically kind of set in that time period of Batman before he's the Batman that he ends up being, like, later down the line. This is like earlier in his time. He doesn't have Robin with him yet, but it's also set with like the later down the line storyline of Barbara becoming the new commissioner of Gotham City. So it's like kind of this weird reference that's obviously takes its inspiration from multiple different sources of Batman material. But that ends up working out perfectly. They end up making it all line up in a way that I wasn't expecting it to work. And yet, as a movie, it works perfectly fine. It progresses, it has a conclusion. In fact, if anything, I'd say that it's almost better than most of the things that it's referencing. I would actually say that, like, the Lego Batman movie ends up being one of the better Batman movies, period. This time I am comparing it to the live action stuff. That's crazy to me. It's still so crazy to me. I think part of the reason for it is they went with they tackled a specific side of the character that hadn't been shown in a lot of the other things. Again, it follows him adopting Robin and also having to deal with Alfred kind of governing over him. So you get this interesting perspective of Batman being slightly immature and still kind of new, while also having more seniority, and having to deal with one of the weirdest universal things that I was not expecting from Batman, of all things. That being the inevitability of being alone. And being alone because you lost the people close to you. Lego Batman is the thing that showed me that I feel bad for Bruce Wayne losing his parents. What? This is ridiculous. I felt like my brain was melting when I realized all of this for the first time. Oh, it's so beautiful. I legitimately can't say too much more because either it'd be a spoiler or I couldn't hammer down the points as well. Just know that as a movie, I think Lego Batman deserves your time. Your time is well spent watching it. And it's still my favorite out of the series. But talking of in terms of a series, there is one that also came out in 2017 that some people have heard of and has more notoriety for not being as good, not being as revolutionary. So stick around after the break where we jump into the Lego Ninjago movie. 88.1 The Burg, your movie central. Welcome back to What to Watch Wednesdays, and for our third and final movie on the watch list tonight, we will be taking a look at the Lego Ninjago movie from 2017, available to watch now on Hulu. To follow the basic plot summary, we start with young Lloyd Garmadon, who is secretly this mysterious green ninja, and the Green Ninja's mortal enemy is Lord Garmadon, Lloyd's father. Lord Garmadon is unaware that his son, who he abandoned, by the way, is actually his mortal enemy, the Green Ninja. And in order for them to have kind of a playing ground to fight against each other, Lord Garmadon is very dedicated to taking over the city of Ninjago, while Lloyd Garmadon is honor-bound to protect the city of Ninjago. Now, let me back up and say here that there's actually a lot more that I'm kind of skipping over. Lloyd has a bunch of friends. Mainly, we've got the red, blue, black, white, and teal ninja. I'm not even going to go over their names because that's just scratching the surface of all the other stuff. We've got his trainer, Master Wu, who's also the brother of Lord Garmadon. We've got his mother, who's somehow involved later down the line. If I were to sit here and explain the entirety of the backstory that you need to know about Lego Ninjago, we would be here for the next hour at most likely, if I'm being generous. Because Lego Ninjago is one of the most well-known Lego properties out there in terms of its media franchise. It's not just Lego sets. It's got an entire TV show that was very big on Cartoon Network back when I was a kid. I never grew up watching it. And when I say that, I mean as in I didn't consistently grow up watching it. I watched it at a certain age, and I watched certain episodes at a certain age. But we stopped watching it after maybe the first season. So I wasn't fully following along with it the entire time that it was happening and coming out. And I know that there might be some people in the audience who were like that, who did watch this show when it came out, have fond, nostalgic memories of the show, and are wondering to me right now if they were here to ask, should I watch this movie? I've never watched it before. I'm a big fan of the TV show. I really wanted to watch it, but I'm kind of on the fence. Would you recommend it? My honest answer would be no. Because it takes strange liberties with the source material in a way that even someone who didn't grow up with it I'm at least vaguely familiar with it enough to know that they kind of fudged it a little bit. You may not get as much fan service as you're really hoping for. In the meantime, if you are not familiar with the show even a little bit, everything I just explained about the premise and the plotline sounds completely unhinged, and you're like, I've never heard of this show before. What are you talking about? So from that perspective, I also can't recommend the movie to you either. If anything, what I'm more so stuck on is asking the question to you, why do you think the Lego company thought this was a good idea? I can see why they thought the Lego movie might have been a good idea. Or more so, they were convinced that it was a good idea. And they ended up capitalizing on it with Lego Batman. Both of the, Lego Batman is such a recognizable thing. It made sense for them to do that as a spin-off. And the Lego movie was already a big risk. But somebody explain to me this risk take. Let's go off. Let's make an adaptation of a TV show for the big screen that's been running for at least 5 seasons at this point, that has a massive amount of lore, an incredibly dedicated fan base, and has full-on entire hundreds of hours of content worth of seasons, and let's crush it into a movie where we emulate the style of the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, even though that is not the animation style of the Lego Ninjago TV show. Again, I find myself asking, why did anybody think this was a good idea? Because it's not really a good idea. You're basically alienating half your audience already, because half of the people probably didn't grow up with Lego Ninjago. And they're like, I gotta watch the entire TV show to understand this, even just up to the point where it was at when the movie came out. Even then, that's a big commitment to ask. And then they go and do the funny thing of alienating the entire rest of the audience by kind of fudging up the entire timeline of events with the show. So it kind of suffers from not pleasing anybody. On top of that, in terms of a writing perspective and in terms of a pacing perspective, a lot of it is, unfortunately, rather underwhelming and kind of boring and a bit cheesy and uninspired. Man, those were strong ways to describe this. And yet, somehow, somebody on this writing team had the good idea of making there be maybe 1 or 2 good scenes between Lloyd Garmadon and his father, Lord Garmadon. Lord, they sound so similar. And their last name is both Garmadon because they're father and son. Give me a break, I'm getting them mixed up. Would I recommend the Lego Ninjago movie? No, I would not. It is enjoyable in certain aspects, but just from the perspective of it standing alongside the very show that it's trying to call back to, I barely see any value here. If anything, I can see many fans watching this and feeling almost betrayed by the Lego company for making a movie of this kind of low caliber, almost spit in the face to this thing that they were dedicated to. Which leaves me with one final thing to say about it, which is that it has Jackie Chan. So if you want to see Jackie Chan in a martial arts movie that's animated, watch Kung Fu Panda, where he voices the monkey. That's currently all I have to say about the Lego Ninjago movie. But it's not all I have to say in general, because that may be all we have for What to Watch Wednesdays tonight. But I also run another show, that being What to Watch Weekends. It'll be airing this Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. So please do be sure to tune into that. It'll be here on 88.1 The Burg. Please also follow What to Watch Wednesdays on Instagram at What to Watch Wednesdays, all one word, no caps, no spaces. Also follow the What to Watch Wednesdays YouTube channel, which is the exact same thing, at What to Watch Wednesdays, all one word, no caps, no spaces. You type that into the YouTube search bar and you're highly likely to find it. It's magic like that. I really appreciate YouTube doing that. Along with that, we have a very special promotion because on What to Watch Weekends, I will be having 3 guests with me on that show. And those 3 have their own show here on 88.1 The Burg. It's called Femme Fatality. And if you've never heard of it before, let me tell you, it's airing tomorrow night, Thursday, from 8 to 10 p.m. I'll be guesting on that show as a guest because that's how guesting works. So please do be sure to tune into that as well. I'm really excited for this. We've been wanting to collaborate for a while, or at least I've been wanting to collaborate for a while. And actually, fun fact, they were the ones who recommended Lego to me. They were the ones who jumped at the opportunity to talk about Lego movies, and I was all for it. So we'll see if we talk about that during Femme Fatality, but we most likely, highly likely, definitely will be talking about it during What to Watch Weekends. They'll be on that show as well. So basically 4 hours for the next 4 days of us all talking about Lego stuff. It's going to be great. Again, thank you all for listening in to What to Watch Wednesdays. I'll be back here on What to Watch Wednesdays here at 8 p.m. here on 88.1 The Burg. And on that show, wait, no, I will not, because next week is Thanksgiving break. The week after next Wednesday is when I will be back. And on that show, I will tell you what to watch. Good night, everybody.